Testing. Going on with my mic? One, two, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ah, good. We're good. I've had a bit of an issue with my mic recently. It's not the mic. Just some software I had that was interfering with it and kept defaulting to the laptop microphone, which is a pain in the butt. So, here we go. We're back. We're ready to chat. I am Duckula. Got some stuff here to enjoy. Got this. And I got this. Some Pepsi to go with it. So, okay. Well, I've had a bit of a cold this week. It's just not going away. Actually, 2 people in my house who are sick right now. And that's challenging. That's very challenging. Is it Omicron or is it just a bad cold? Apparently the symptoms are exactly the same. Jury's out if Omicron even exists, you know? I mean, I think it's a cold. I got a cold. Whether that's Omicron, I don't know. So anyway, so I have some medication here. From, of all places, the dollar store. The thing about Dollar Tree is it's not $1 anymore, it's $1.25 for everything, which is still cheap. But so let's give these a go. See if it helps relieve the symptoms any. I'm actually not too bad right now because I just came out the shower. I was outside had to do some work outside today. Something came up and I had to go attend to it. I'd rather have stayed indoors, but what can you do? I came in, had a shower, made me feel a little better, but my voice is like croaky. I have a bit of a sore throat going on. Let's see, what do we do? Take 2 of these? Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. Adults take 2 caplets every 4 hours. Guess that passes an adult. Hold on. See if this helps at all. Because the joke of it is, people who are being diagnosed with Omicron, you stand in the queue for half an hour or an hour or whatever, or a drive-through at the CVS. And you get there and they tell you to take Tylenol. What's the point? You may as well just assume you have Omicron and to get yourself some Tylenol. If symptoms persist, of course, go see a doctor. If there was anything. I think I probably, in another day, I said yesterday I'd last 2 days to see if it got any worse. If it seems to be getting worse, I'll go take the COVID test. I don't think I have COVID. I've had COVID twice in the past year. I had it in February 2021, and it was awful. It sunk down into my lungs, and I had that horrible chesty cough. It just wouldn't go away. The dry cough. And the thing about the dry cough is, unlike a regular cough, if you get a cold and you're clearing phlegm from your lungs, it just wasn't like that. There was nothing coming up. It was just a cough, cough, which aggravated my throat most of the time and put me into coughing fits at times, but it was okay. I mean, I was like quite comfortable with myself, and I wasn't going to go and let them put a ventilator on me because that is certain death apparently. So I didn't need that. I stayed at home and suffered the occasional coughing fit where I could hardly breathe, but I got over it. And I got over it in about maybe a week, and what was left though was a residual cough, dry cough, which now this is February, and I still had that about Easter time, so one an annoyance. And then I got COVID again in September. And this time I didn't have any of that. and there's a good reason for it. I'll tell you about it. I'd got done my homework, and I study a lot of supplements and vitamins and things. And what I was looking at was N-acetylcysteine, and wondering, I mean, it's a thing that a lot of people use to stop infections getting into your lungs, because it basically keeps your lungs clean, or clear rather. And I felt to myself, that's not going to happen to me again. So if I get COVID, I'd actually got a store of N-acetylcysteine on the shelf, and I said I'm going to take that. And I honestly believe it made a big difference, because although I had a very upper chest infection in September, it did not get down into my lungs. So I definitely didn't develop the dry cough and all that stuff. And I think that was the N-acetylcysteine, which is a great product. You get it in Sprouts, or on almost any place really. I don't know. I don't know if Walmart sell it. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. You can go look. But it's a great product, and it helps. It's like it's not just like for like talking about COVID and things like that. I mean, this is an old-fashioned thing that people took for colds and flus and all that, and it was just basically to keep your lungs clear. And I believe it works. Now, obviously, right now I have a bit of a chesty cough, so I'm back taking it again, trying to prevent this garbage from getting down into my lungs, because I think that is probably just my thoughts, mind you. These are just my thoughts. I did some nurse training a few years ago, but don't take my word on anything. I'm not a substitute for a doctor. I said, I believe N-acetylcysteine works, and I believe the worst of the COVID was when it was like catarrh or whatever in your lungs, and I think that was what was causing people a lot of problems. So that's just how it is. So there you go. A little bit of sugar makes the medicine go down, and this is a Cadbury's chocolate orange. With my medicine, I'll have reward myself with something nice. But yeah, true. You just can't seem to shift this thing. It's been. I've certainly been. I'm saying I had it a week, but I was aware of something being off for about a fortnight. And then this past week, though, it developed into an actual cough and sore throat, which are symptoms of Omicron, apparently. But hey, it's also symptoms of the common cold. Don't get carried away. Don't get frightened by all the nonsense being said today. I think the biggest issue with this COVID thing has been paranoia. Absolute paranoia. And I don't think that's a healthy situation. I think doctors, the governments, are to blame for a lot of it. And basically, I don't think that was handling the situation well, causing paranoia. And it's just not the adult way to go about things. We've had a lot of that. And then, of course, there's Joe, who told us we'd all be dead by Christmas if we weren't vaccinated. I mean, this is kind of divisive stuff that's going on. I don't like that. This is just wrong. I don't know who Joe's advisors are, but he ought to sack them and get some new ones. Especially if it's Fauci. Now, I don't care if you've been vaccinated or unvaccinated. Personally, you both have the same possibilities of catching this thing, and that's neither here nor there. Anyway, let's talk about something different. I don't like all this divisive stuff that's going on right now. I personally believe that when challenges like this come along, people should be together on the same page, united, not divided, and not purposely divided. By the powers that be, I see the sun streaming in my window here. It's Texas. The weather's very nice. Well, actually, let's look at the Houston temperature right now. Houston temperature. Let's see what we got. It's well, I thought it would be warmer than that. At 5 p.m, it's 58 degrees. Yeah. Okay. Maybe a little colder than I expected, but it's certainly a sunny day. I was out in it, so doing some important yard work, but so you know, you tend with wearing a sweater, oddly enough, so you tend to feel warmer than you actually are. Probably, I was kind of, my body heat was like, I came in, I was like, oh my god, it's too hot, and it's only 58 apparently. So there you go. Yeah, but it's been very hot this past week. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was in the 70s, and then this morning was incredibly cold. So it's a combination of things going on. It goes from hot to cold. So a couple of interesting things. What this? Now I might do an unboxing of this. I think that might be a good idea. It's the English Magic Tarot. Sounds good, huh? So I also have an issue with a lot of these modern tarot decks, and my issue is that they're just ridiculous. You know, it's like reinventing something, and I believe the meanings are lost. I mean, it's like I do two main tarots. I have the Rider-Waite deck, and I have Crowley's Thoth deck. Actually, I have the original printing, the 1969 version of the Thoth deck, and it's in pristine condition. I sometimes wonder if I should even use it because it's such a nice set. I see the price for those things online now is ridiculous. This is an interesting story. I got mine ultra cheap. I'll tell you a story. I was in Half Price Books one day, and going around, they for some reason, you know, they have a glass case, all the expensive stuff in it. For some reason they'd emptied the glass case out, and maybe they took on a temp or something. I don't know. And they put them on the shelves, and I was looking there, and I looked, and I said, "Oh my god, this is the Thoth deck." I said this, you know, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, is this the original, you know, printing? I'm thinking, just summing it over in my hand here, thinking, what the heck? I don't want to, you know. And I think I paid $5 for it, $5, and I thought that's incredible. So, I mean, it's very, very rare. It's quite rare. And I came home. I found a lot of great stuff. I go in Half Price Books and I find a lot of great stuff. I've got stuff lying right here, to my right here. Things I bought. Just a minute. I'll show you what I got recently. The Half Price Books. Turns out I moved it already. Yeah. Well, I am puzzled. Okay, I'm puzzled. But it was some interesting finds I had recently, and it was the Doctor Who Weekly edition #1. You know, this is from 1978. I was in Half Price, and this thing. What was amazing is it was bagged, and still had the transfer stickers attached. Now, I had that copy. I had that copy when I lived in Scotland. I had the whole set, and I sold them. I sold them a few years ago. So it was a big surprise to see one. I think most of the time, even if you find one that doesn't have the transfers on it, but here was an immaculate comic that probably was unread. It looked as if it had been bagged at the time by a collector, and he left the transfers on it. And I thought, I bought that in Half Price Books. Got cheap. It's all dot cheap. If you know what you're looking for, you can find some real bargains in there. Now, personally, I frown on what some people do. I see a guy in my local Half Price Books. He annoys the heck out of me because he always seems to be there when I'm there, and I go to the clearance books. Hey, that's where I start my search, and then I look on the shelves. But this guy goes around to the clearance, and he's got his camera and he's checking the ISBN of all the books, and he's looking for stuff that he can sell on Amazon. Apparently, it's a real nuisance because here's a guy with a basket full of books and he blocks off the aisles. He's just a nuisance. I say I'm not saying okay, it's a business. You want to do that, great, but you shouldn't do that, and at the inconvenience of other shoppers. So but yeah, I've seen him in there several times. But this is what he definitely missed because I got this, and it was a pounce moment. And that was my wife saying, looking at me, thinking, "What? Why do you want that?" She's got a big. She's a big issue about Aleister Crowley. She doesn't really think, she'd have anything to do with Aleister Crowley. Oddly enough, this house I live in right now, this house was actually owned by the Crowley family, at least his relatives in the US. This is incredibly true. I had no idea about that when we purchased this place, and then when I was looking at the records, I discovered that the Crowleys lived here. And I went off and spoke to my neighbour, a neighbour, who they told me, "Oh, you live in the old Crowley house." I went, "Oh my god!" I said, "You mean, And she knew the whole story and how they related to AC, and it's quite an interesting story. Maybe I should do some kind of seance in this house. I'm not sure if we turn up anything interesting. So you never know, do you? Yeah, you want to believe in that kind of stuff. But tarot cards. Well, I've got a fourth deck, and I'm going to show you it one of these days because it's pretty awesome. The condition is absolutely amazing. I mean, I've looked online, and I've saw people selling them for like $700, maybe even $800 on eBay. And the condition isn't anything like this set that I found. So this is obviously a well-kept set. It looks like it was never used. The box is in immaculate condition. Great find. So, anyway. But, I go around half price, and I found a lot of great things. So, the trick is in knowing what you're looking for. I used to have a friend at college, and this guy incredibly, he gave up college because he was making so much money. I have no idea what he does today. I don't know. But at the time, this guy was making a living out of what he called deletions. And this is records, vinyl records. And we used to have a couple of second-hand record stores in my town. Massive record stores. There was a big turnover. It was a big... Saturday afternoons was a big thing for when I was in my teenage years. You go in there and the kids would swarm in there. And then, of course, there's the Glasgow Barras. There was a lot of record sellers there. This guy had he was like, Asperger's or, how that, those, he just his memory was incredible, and he could remember incredible lists of almost anything, to be quite honest. But in this case, funny thing about Asperger's and things like that is people only use it. It seems to be a niche thing. I'm talking with experience here. I know what I'm talking about, incidentally. So I won't go into that right now. But people with Asperger's generally are into niche things in a big way. And his big way was to, for instance, I could tell you about my cousin who has Asperger's. He sat and read incredible, boring books that no one else in the world would read, and there was it's fiction. There was he had this manual like this. A manual was maybe this thick. And it was about all the Star Trek starships, and all the technical details of them. And he had this memorized. And I said to him, if you could only do that with a science book, they'd call you a genius. You see where I'm going here? Otherwise, call him an idiot, to be quite honest, for memorizing a lot of garbage. But this guy I'm talking about, Graham, his name was. He had an incredible memory, and what he had done was studied and memorized lists and lists and lists of records that were deletions. And he would buy these. He would go around the stores, and it was incredible watching this guy. It was like a whirlwind, going through the racks of records, pulling out this one, pulling out that one, and he would say to me as we left the place, he'd say, "Oh, I've just made like £800, or I've just made, what." This is generally how he talked, because and how he made money was he was part of a community. I mean, this is at probably the start of the internet, but he was bigger than that. These were paper-based communities. They wrote to each other. They many fanzines and things like that. He not only did he have this community, but he had a list of wants that people wanted. He would say, okay, Joe in Suffolk wants this, and Bobby in Surrey wants this, and this is how much he's going to pay for it. And this guy would walk away, and he would go home, and he would do business, and that was it. And honest to God, he made so much money. So I don't know if that industry even still exists, if people can still do that. Since we changed to CD, but maybe we can, because vinyl's back again. But this guy, I swear, and this is like one of these things, the same thing with half-price books, or any bookstore, come to think of it, if you know what you're talking about, there's a lot of valuable books out there. I found one recently, it was quite interesting. You can definitely find first editions. I've done it. And quite often, if they find a valuable book, they put it behind the glass case. But they do make mistakes, and I've found things for just a few bucks. So, and you know what? A big part of the finding, the whole process is finding it. It's like the prey, isn't it? You find this thing, you know what you've got, and they don't, and you take that thing away, and it's worth money, and it's whether you sell it or keep it for yourself. I tend to keep things for myself. I don't do all the eBay stuff and all that, and if I buy something, it's for my own appreciation. Anyway, let's talk about this. The English Magic Tarot. This actually came from Half Price Books. You see that? It's still sealed in the plastic. Did this come from? I can't remember. I don't know. I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. Anyway. My problem, anyway, I was talking about is these modern tarot decks. Like, I think my sister has the Witch's Tarot. She likes that. I tend to, when it comes to tarot, the tarot deck most people use, of course, is the Rider-Waite, and it's perfectly acceptable to use that. And what I love about the Rider-Waite is just by beginners and experts, because people start off generally with the Rider-Waite. The pictures are intuitive, so even if you forget the meaning of the card, you look at the picture and you can remember what it signifies. And generally, you get a gist of the person in front of you and the nature of the question, the querent, if you wish. What the querent thinks or wants to know, and you can generally get the drift of by the demeanour and the importance of the question and what the cards probably signify. Now this one here, I'm looking at the back, and some of the pictures just, I guess the pictures on this deck are interesting. I don't know if you can see this. I haven't opened it yet. I should maybe do an unboxing of it. As I said, the graphics. What I have to say is, by the looks of it, first glance, the graphics are much the same. There's a picture of, number 17, the star. But it's Isaac Newton doing some stuff in the picture. And then there's Justice. Well, that's obviously explanatory, because that one, she's got the scales of justice and the sword of justice. That one makes sense. And then there's the moon. That's very nice. That's an interesting card. The lady's pointing at the moon, and there's a rabbit on its hind legs walking up to her. So this is kind of... So, basically, what's interesting about this is they've incorporated a lot of things from Dr. John Dee and Michael Kelly, if you know about that, Enochian magic. So a lot of symbology from that in it. I'll read the back out. Here's the synopsis, okay? This captivating new tarot deck draws us into the vibrant but often hidden world of English magic, evoking a golden age of mysticism when John Dee was Queen Elizabeth's court astrologer. Antiquarian John Aubrey rediscovered ancient sacred sites, and the great physicist Isaac Newton studied alchemy. The English Magic Tarot places the cards in the colourful yet turbulent period of English history that stretches from the time of Henry VIII to the Restoration. During this time of upheaval, archetypal forces were very much at play, making it a perfect setting for the cards. Brought to you by renowned artist Rex Van Ryn. And that sounds like a dodgy name. I don't believe that name. Sounds a bit like the character from oh my god, The Devil Rides Out, isn't it? Dennis Wheatley, Rex Van Ryn. Rex Van Ryn. Is it? I'm trying to think of the characters. Well, there's the Duke de Richelieu. There's the other chap. Something Aaron. Rex Van Ryn, yeah. He plays the American. Yeah, I don't believe that name. That's fictitious. So anyway, Rex Van Ryn, colourless Steve Dooley. Well, that sounds real enough. Who would call himself Steve Dooley if he wasn't born with that name? And writer Andy Letcher. Okay, Letcher, he's lecherous. This deck has a dynamic graphic style. There are unique twists to some of the traditional images, with riddles, references, and lore buried within them that will draw you into ever deeper mystery in the meaning of the cards. The English Magic Tarot opens up a rich new pathway into the cards that will delight the novice and experienced tarot users alike. Well, that sounds interesting. Anyway, if you're having problems reading this, it's because the light's not great. I've actually closed my blind earlier because the sun was coming in, and I have just the studio light here. I haven't switched off this light here, and the reason for that is I only have a certain number of USB ports on this HP laptop, which annoys the heck out of me. I'm going to have to get a USB port for that, one of the extenders that gives you extra ports. But this usual situation, 78 full colour English Magic Tarot cards. So, first glance, I would say, okay, obviously reads just like tarot, but I don't think people should really, what an artist has added to it. That's poetic license. That's nothing to do with tarot. I like to stick to traditional images, but they look like fun. They look like something that would be interesting to a querent. Be happy to sit in front of you and have you read the tarot with this thing. It's very interesting graphics. What's interesting is, as someone pointed out to me one time about the Rider-Waite set, is quite often the person sitting who wants the tarot read knows the meaning of the cards. And, depending on your own competence, they might even correct you. They might say to you, "No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that reading because of this," and that's fine. This one gives you. So basically, a lot of people that annoys a lot of readers apparently, but not me. But this one gives you, when you use things like this, like the Witch's Tarot or this thing, the English Magic Tarot. It gives you an added element of protection in that you just don't know. You don't know the full meaning. Although it's the very same card. When you've got the very same cards, just different graphics, because that's what it amounts to. What's interesting about this, as I see, there's some Enochian symbols in it. John Dee. Okay. Fair enough. It's like... what I love about the Rider-Waite deck, and people shouldn't really knock it, is that if you really look at the original tarot decks that still exist from maybe 16th century or whatever, I think the Italian tarot, there's only like, I think 16 surviving cards. We don't know. But because some of the graphics that became the Rider-Waite set, I may actually, it might have been either some kind of image of it, or actually, her, Smith's actual interpretation of something she'd seen, perhaps. We don't know. Because I look at the original tarot that we know does exist, the cards that survived, and it is incredible how similar they are to the modern tarot, and probably the in between must be the French tarot, the Tarot of Marseille,